Hello, everybody. It's me, Kendrick or Kendo, whichever you prefer. I use they, he pronouns, and I need to unmute myself in Discord. There we go. Hello, everybody. My name is Kendrick or Kendo, whichever you prefer. I use they, he pronouns, and welcome back to another Kobold Chats. It's the same deal, gang. It's Friday. Best time of the day, the middle of your day, whether that be lunch, hanging out at home, maybe you took the day off. I'm not going to tell anyone, you know. Yeah, your secret's safe with me. Don't worry. I'm I don't snitch. But yeah, how's everybody doing today? We have a big week. We've had a big week. It is the launch of the Labyrinth Kickstarter. We've got so much Labyrinth stuff going on here in the Warrens, and I got a lot to talk to you all about today. Also, look at my little coin, my little coin that'll take me down the river Styx. I can't remember. I think these are Stygian coins is the name, I believe. I think so. But if you all backed the Kickstarter, which you should have, during the first 48 hours, you would have gotten one of these, or you would, be available to get one of these. So I hope those of you who did that are looking forward to it. If you weren't able to at the time, I understand. I get it. However, there's still so much in the Labyrinth World book and the Labyrinth Adventure book for you to go get. So even if you haven't already backed the Kickstarter, let's go on. You know what? I'm already talking about. Let's just get on to it. Hello, my dear friend Jiro. What are we talking about today? Bam. So we've got a couple of things. First off, don't pay the ferryman till you get to the other side. True. Do not, because you don't want to end up caught on the wrong side of that river. Let's see. Oh, you want to play? Oh, you gotta pay the barge man. So true. More coins for the fountain. So Labyrinth Kickstarter. We are this launched on Monday, so we're about a week into it. We've got 25 days to go, but we're already at $257,000. You all. Call them obols. I can't afford to back you yet. Oh, I'm sorry. Hey, Jack, I understand. You've got 25 days. You have 25 days to be able to back the Kickstarter. You can be one of the already 2,153 people who have backed the Labyrinth Kickstarter for either, the Labyrinth World book, the Labyrinth Adventure book. Maybe you're one of the people who went all out to get the GM vault from Beatles and Grimm. Whatever it is that you chose to do, or whatever it is that you choose to do in the future, we at Kobold Press just want to thank you so much for supporting us in this. We are so excited for the Labyrinth World book and everything. How many Minotaurs we kissing? As many as you want. You can kiss as many Minotaurs as you want. You can be a Minotaur, kiss other Minotaurs. You can not be a Minotaur and kiss a Minotaur. Whatever you want, they're in there, baby. Thank you, Kim, for reminding us. You can always come in and pre-order time too. You just won't have access to the GM vault, which is, it is what it is, right? Yeah, no, the GM vault is going to be, I really want to get my hands on one of these GM vaults. I don't know if I have the money for it, but if I'm able to get the money, I really want one of them. Can you kiss you can kiss whoever you want. We're not in the game of telling you who you can and can't kiss. You can kiss a Gear Forged. You can kiss a Minotaur. You can kiss an elf. I don't care, as long as you're out there having fun. That's because we work in tabletop, Kendo. So true. I understand. Would that upset the game flow if we kiss the Minotaur that often? Not at all. Not at all. Consent, though. So true, Ben. You can kiss whoever you want as long as they say it's okay. As long as they want to kiss you back. You need to get info on the Gearforged. What books are they in? Well, the Gearforged aren't in a book that is currently out, but there might be some options coming up soon. Oh, the Gear Forged, they are in the Midgards. I'm sorry, yes. The Gear Forged aren't in a Tales of the Valiant book as of yet. They are in the Midgard Heroes book. Thank you, Ben. You can always convert it. We've got the free conversion guide. Kiss a Medusa, keep your eyes closed, kiss. Hey, as long as you know who you're kissing and they want to kiss you back, do whatever makes you happy, bud. The Labyrinth is a kissing game, 100%. I'm completely off the rails. Go back the Labyrinth Kickstarter. I'm going to put the link here in the Twitch chat, here in the Discord chat, and here in the YouTube chat. There you go. You can go check that out right now. Also, it links to it on that page, but we have the Labyrinth preview PDF. It is free. You can go get it over on the Kobold Press store, and it is going to give you just a little bit of a hint and a little sneak peek at what you are going to be able to find within the Labyrinth world book. You don't need stats to kiss. You don't need stats to kiss. You're so right. What was I doing? Okay, yes. So that's that. You could go check those out. But if you want even more information on the Labyrinth, we had a video launched today that I worked very hard on, and called Scouting Party. Scouting Party is going to be a new series here at Kobold Press where Kendrick, am your scout, and I am going out into the world, and by that I mean I'm interviewing the writers of our Kickstarter books and some of our new products to be able to give you more information about what's going to be in the book and get you all hyped and get me hyped as well. About what's going on in those books. Scouting Party launched earlier today, I think at 10 a.m. Eastern time. You can go watch it right after this. Don't leave this. But you can go watch it. I interviewed for this episode. I interviewed Wolfgang, our Kobold in Chief, and Richard Green, one of the writers on the Labyrinth World book, and talked about the specifics of what is the Labyrinth, what can you find in it, and how do you get into it, and really just talking about like how you can bring your world to the Labyrinth, and how you can and like all the different ways that you can use it, and just like peeking at some of the things that you can find in it. And there are going to be 3 more episodes. There's going to be one for every week of the Kickstarter. And you'll be able to find those every Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern time over on our YouTube channel. So you can go check that out right now. Sorry, don't check it out right now. Check it out after, like I said. But if you want even more Labyrinth stuff from the people who wrote it, you can go check that out. Definitely down to see more of this in the Return of Midgard lore with this Labyrinth. Absolutely. Midgard is, and you'll find this in the video, Midgard is one of the 10 core worlds of the Labyrinth that helps hold all of this stuff together. So there's going to be some more Midgard stuff in it, of course. Awesome. Okay, cool. So that was that. Next thing. Oh, yes. Even more Labyrinth stuff. You can go get hold on. No, I needed that URL. Please. Hold on, I'm just going to refresh this. There we go. So I can get you all this URL. You can go get the guide to the Labyrinth, which also has even more lore about the Labyrinth and some information for 20% off over on the Kobold Press store right now. So originally originally $9.99. You can get it for $7.99 right now, and that's just going to give you some even more stuff and peeks into some of the worlds that make up the Labyrinth as a whole. I'm going to need some void ship shenanigans. Oh, plenty of void ship shenanigans. So many shenanigans abound within the Labyrinth, which is, I think, like one of my favorite things about it. And I talk about it in the Scouting Party video, but the fact that the labyrinth is both like this, like it's this very solid, like it is underground tunnels and like labyrinthian mazes that connect to all of these different worlds, but there are also different ways to traverse it, like going down the river Styx or going through void ships and all of these. Like it feels both very solid and tactile, but also a little amorphous in a way that I like. It really lets you get weird with how it like manifests in your world and like how you traverse it, which I think is really, really cool, and I love seeing stuff like it. Where there are kobolds, there will be shenanigans, so true. Getting in may be easier than getting out. That's also very true. Mapping the labyrinth, it's a labyrinth. You know, it's gonna be hard. If you want even more information about the labyrinth, hey, guess what? We have Labyrinth Monday, which intersects with Midgard Monday because, hey, you get some more voids. Oh, whoa, you get some void spells in here. This is cool. I actually didn't look through this blog before I did this. I was like, oh, this would be good to talk about. But hey, you can get some more void spells from this Labyrinth Monday blog post. I love the blog. It's free. Hey, who doesn't love free spells? Hey, get your spells here. I'm passing them out like a Midgard Oprah. Take some spells. You get a spell. You get a spell. You get a spell. You get a spell. Everybody gets a spell. So head on over to the blog to go check that out. Actually, yeah, I'll just go through this right now. And after I go through this, we will be getting to the main course, which is a pre-recorded interview that I did with Josephine about her project, her Kobold Creates Project, Low Ranked Women, which I am very, very excited about. The session 0 of it went live earlier this week on Monday. Are these spells from the book or just blog spells? I believe these... I don't actually know. I think these might just be blog spells. So these are additional spells on top of other spells that will be in the Labyrinth World book. These might end up in the book. I can't answer that for sure. I can't answer that for sure. So don't quote me on that. But I believe this is just for the blog. Okay, let's take a look at these. Void spells. The spells and rituals cast by servants of the void are primordial and powerful, but they always come with a price as deep and cold as the void itself. These terrifying spells might be used against the PCs by void cultists and creatures, or perhaps their own foolhardy warlock. Excuse me. Baneful Void. Second circle weird spell. It's evocation. Casting time 1 reaction. Love a reaction spell. When damaged by a creature within 30 feet that you can see. Oh, so this is like do not quote Kendo. Please do not quote me unless it is a thing I'm talking about that I'm very sure about. Okay. Love. So this is, what was the spell that I was just thinking of? Reaction does Infernal Rebuke? Hellish Rebuke. There we go. Got it. You're going to need to play a Warlock in TOV. Especially because now Warlocks have spell slots. They got more spell slots to use. I bet they're weird. Not, yeah, they're probably more weird. Let's see. Okay. Casting time. Range of 30 feet. Components. Verbal, somatic, duration, instantaneous. The power of the void will harm the least corrupted creature it can find. You point your finger, claw, or tentacle, and a creature that damaged you drops through a hole in the void. The creature must make a con save. On a failure, it takes 1d8 cold damage and 1d8 necrotic damage, or half as much damage from each type on success. Wild. The creature then immediately falls back through another hole that appears 10 feet above the space from where it disappeared, and takes 1d6 bludgeoning damage from falling. If cast on a creature from the void, or one suffering more void taint than you, the spell affects you instead. Void taint? Oh my god, is there gonna be... Oh my... Okay. So much in this. That's wild. Can I just say, the void cannot be avoided. Ding! But also, What is this spell? Huh? Just dropping them through the void. They take cold, necrotic, and then falling damage is... it's so good. I feel like TOV actually gives the great old Eldritch concepts bang for... Like, yeah, like, this feels like something that truly is Eldritch. And, like, you are tapping into something that you really should not be tapping into. At higher circles, when you cast this spell using a third circle spell slot or higher, the height of the drop increases by 10 feet. And the cold and necrotic damage each increase by 1d8. Oh my god, that's so good. It's sounding, yeah, no, it really is. It really is. This is so good. This works so well with a lot of stuff I was already doing. I love Eldritch Horror, Jack. I get it. Like this, ooh, this feels right. This feels good. Okay. The next spell, Become the Void. Void Taint. Yeah, truly. Sixth circle, arcane, divine, and weird. Okay. Casting time, 1 action. Range of self, components, verbal, somatic, and material. You need a black volcanic stone wrapped in black cloth, or a handful of volcanic sand or ash in a black pouch. Makes sense. Duration, concentration up to 1 minute. You become the darkness of the void and see into the dark truth of things. For the duration of this spell, you gain true sight to a range of 60 feet. You also radiate magical darkness in a 30-foot radius. You can move through creatures and objects as if they were difficult terrain, but you can cast spells normally. If you end your turn inside a creature or item, it takes 2d10 force damage. A creature that takes 10 or more force damage from this effect must succeed a strength save or be knocked prone in the same space. If a target takes force damage from this spell, you take 2d10 necrotic damage and are shunted into the nearest unoccupied space. Oh, that's so cool. Volcanic Eldritch. Yeah, right, Calderum. Oh, like, that's good. That's some good stuff. Becoming the void, like creating basically this 30-foot aura of magical darkness that you can move through things and people. Like, that's some big bad energy right there, and I love that. And imagining like a player pulling this, like, I think one thing that I really like about the void and like its narrative power, right, is like it is a corruptive force, and the ability resistant undead use that spell, right? Like, yeah, if necrotic resistant creatures or PCs being able to use this, like being able to half that damage is immediately so good. But like the imagine, right? You are playing a wizard or a warlock. I love that this is arcane, divine, or weird. So like clerics, wizards, warlocks, all of those can use this. But also bards. Wild. The like imagine slipping this into like a spell scroll or a book, right? For a character who is like good aligned, like nothing to do with the void, and like giving them the potential to use this, and how like you can start seeding in the like the corruptive nature of the void, of like this is really powerful magic, but using it might change you and change things about you. Like the narrative power of the void is this expansive corruptive force that can tempt players into like, do you want power? I'll give you power. You have to give something up in return. Is just so good. Just put some void juice in the healing potion. It's fine. It's so good. All right. We've got 2 more spells here. We have Conjure Lesser Voidling, 4th circle, arcane, and weird. Casting time, 1 action, range of 90 feet. Verbal, somatic, and material. It doesn't say what materials though, unless it might say it in the thing, so we'll see. Duration, concentration up to 1 hour. You summon a destructive creature of the void. You tear open a 5-foot square rift to the deep void and summon a lesser voidling, which you can find in the monster vault, that appears in an unoccupied space, and you can see within range. Any creature within 30 feet of the rift must make a con save. On a failure, it takes 2d8 necrotic damage and 2d8 cold damage. Immediately, so before you even bring out the Voidling, you're causing damage by creating, like, that's how corruptive and terrible this rift is, that the void is, that even being near a rift of it does damage to you, which also includes you. It says any creature, you're included in that. On a success, it takes only half as much damage. In addition, creatures who fail must succeed a strength save or be pulled 15 feet towards the rift. Any creature pulled into or otherwise touching the rift must make a con save. On a failure, it takes, again, 2d8 necrotic damage, 2d8 cold damage, and suffers 2 levels of exhaustion. This includes you. This includes you. On a success, it takes half as much damage and only suffers 1 level of exhaustion. Creatures from the void have advantage on these saving throws. The lesser voidling is not actively hostile to you and your companions in combat. It acts on your initiative, taking its turn immediately after yours. It obeys any telepathic commands you give, no action required by you, if they involve destruction and harm. So it obeys anything that says destroy something or harm something. If your commands do not involve harm or destruction, or you don't give any commands, it defends itself from hostile creatures, but otherwise takes no actions. The lesser voidling disappears when it drops to 0 HP or when the spell ends. If you are killed or rendered unconscious, the lesser voidling attacks any creature within range, including you or your allies, then disappears back into the void rift with the same effects as described above. If your unconscious body or corpse is within 15 feet of the rift, it is sucked into the deep void, never to be seen again, short of a wish or similar magic. This is what I was just talking about, the corruptive nature of the void. This is an incredibly powerful spell. Also, an incredibly dangerous spell to use, because you or your allies can be sucked right into the void, but you get a lesser voidling if you want. And, it's so good. It's so good. Last but not least, I think this is, so Conjure Voidling. Oh, a small shard of obsidian might be the same material component. All you hear is a cute voidling pet. See? That tells me that you're susceptible to... Sorry, I got the hiccups all of a sudden. One moment. That tells me that you're susceptible to void propaganda. That's all that tells me. So Conjure Voidling, same stuff. It's 1 circle higher, up the feet that get pulled into by 30 feet, up the damage by 1d8 across the board, and you get a voidling rather than a lesser voidling. A voidling familiar would be really good, actually. Like, even like a minor void. Okay, someone's got to get on that. I need a voidling familiar ASAP. This is so cool. Oh, I think this is the voidling. Oh, so this is what it looks like too. That's horrifying. Voidling Nihilist, man. Say what you want about necromancy, dude, but at least it's an ethos. So true. The Voidling Nihilist just being like, everything needs to be destroyed. Everything, I want nothing to exist. All of it dead. All of it gone. All of it sucked into the entropy that is the void. A voidlet, if you will. God, this is so good. This is so good. I love this. Okay, awesome. So that's that. I put the link already in the chat. You can go find that there. If you want to check out the blog, all I'm saying is the blog is good. We love the blog here. I love the blog here. There's just always so much cool stuff. I would love to see these spells make it into... Oh, like these spells being the blog spells, I can only imagine what the spells in the adventure, what in Labyrinth Adventures in the Labyrinth World book are going to look like, because I'm sold. I'm sold. All right. Last thing I have here for you is the interview with me and Josephine talking about her project, low-ranked women one of our Kobold Creates projects. You can find low ranked women over on Josephine's Twitch, which I'm going to put in all the chats here. And yeah, and then with that, we're gonna go over to that interview. I'm gonna I can sit back, I can watch, and yes, pass Kendo and Joe. All right, sending it over to me and Joe from the past, and we'll see you after. Hello. Thank you so much, and hello to all of you at Kobold Chats in the future from the time that I am in right now. Today I am so very happy and lucky to be joined by Josephine, one of the recipients of the Kobold Creates Grants Scholarship that, we did earlier this year in 2024, and as a way to get other creators to be able to make things with Tales of the Valiant, to be able to pitch us their projects, show us what they liked about Tales of the Valiant and what they wanted to do with it. And, well, we got a lot of really good stuff, and Josephine's project, Low Ranked Women, was one of them. Joe, for the people who don't know who you are, go ahead and let them know.
I'm Josephine, at Scary Dog Friend. I am in a number of wonderful performances, productions, namely over at Nameless Domain as well as Bad House RPG. We just wrapped the finale for Voices in the Wood, for which I was Chanyeol Park, the assigned by the stranger government assigned cop. And in lots of fun stuff as well with our friend Navar Jackson over at Secret Nerd Podcast, where we do zombie stuff with the corrupted system. So I'm all over the place, love to do horror stuff, and that's usually my jam.
Yeah. So today, you're usually dealing with a lot of horror, as you just said, whether it be zombies, weird, gods become, or entities become people, have to kill
Yeah.
each other, kind of deal. But this time we're going to something maybe not out, obviously not outside your wheelhouse, but something that maybe we haven't quite seen from you before. What is low ranked women?
So, the Apothecary Diaries author is maybe out of jail by now as we speak. But we were very inspired by the Apothecary Diaries. And in general inspired by Korean historical drama, Chinese, Japanese, a little bit of a House of Flying Daggers in there, the more that I think about it at this point. But what is not more horrific than just being a woman throughout history,
Fair.
and throughout carving out and paving out their roles in imperial slash ancient civilizations and things along those lines. The concept of a low ranked woman, we're specifically going to be focusing on, to a degree, casteism. The most familiar, the casteism system that I'm the most familiar with being Korean, but we're definitely drawing from the Chinese concubinage systems as well as the Japanese. A lot of East Asian sort of sieges against each other, and just, I don't know, very much that concept of this etiquette of preparing someone to be a wife, preparing someone to be a bride, and what exact, or to be a mother. Those
Yeah.
those breakdowns of a woman being the only three things that you ever get to be, for example.
Hmm.
It's very akin to sort of the skeleton of work that Gudia, one of my projects with Hamna Shahid over at Nameless Domain, it's just very much being a woman is a horrible, horrific thing that is not really given the grace or love or nuance or attention. So being able to break down three different types of low-ranked women in this imperial system, especially one as hierarchical and detailed as the concubine system,
Yeah.
which breaks down in so many. It is like branches upon branches upon trees upon branches. Um, Specifically featured in the Apothecary Diaries is like there are four different princesses that come to live with the Emperor of China at the time,
Hmm.
and her role is to not only in making the emperor happy, they make their provinces and their countries and things like that as well happy.
Interesting. So
Yeah,
like, I think that's really fascinating as far as like a way to, like, I mean, break down like all of the different roles that women have had to like live in those like kinds of societies. And like, so I'm interested in like how is that going to like come out like in the game, you know, like what is the um I guess like, yeah, I guess I'm just interested in like, yeah, how that comes out in game, in the like story that you're
absolutely.
telling.
So, um, to just kind of immediately draw on the particular principles of Tales of the Valiant that really drew me to this type of story is just
Yeah.
already we're given so many of the tools to just write like some good ass fantasy, like just off the bat, right?
Yeah.
Um, because even thinking of like House of Dragons as like a touchstone, like there are there are these like um we have lineages that we think of like the classic like quote unquote like fantasy race and that sort of thing, but
Yeah.
how that does not like inherently say something about the house or the family that you come from,
Yeah.
or province, country, whatever. Like
Yeah.
heritage wise, there are so many different things that people can go through. Like there's the rebellion, the war child that
Hmm.
are also came from the campaign builder.
Oh, Castles and Crowns.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that just like already that didn't even come out yet when we were conceptualizing
Hmm.
the story, or like writing the story. So we are in very good hands. And on top of that, there's just so much room to really play with like what does it mean for the players to choose um, to come from like a certain province, and like what does it mean for your province to be like lower ranked, like what does it mean for
Yeah.
Jay's character to be a lower ranked concubine to the empress, and also sort of playing with that like the queer relationships in
Yeah.
as potent and important of a role as being the empress's favorite concubine despite being a
Yeah.
low ranked concubine. And like how does it shake up the world entirely by making it like a sapphic love to begin with, but
Yeah.
that does not necessarily stop the role of imperialism and casteism. um we're going to have like an array of lineages and heritages, obviously,
Hmm.
and we are also going to be following we were also going to be following character threads as well. So
Hmm.
Darby's character is the apothecary. Darby's character is going to be protecting the low ranked concubine in sort of the medicinal way,
Hmm.
and the Aki is going to be playing a bodyguard or like the security detail here who will be protecting the concubine in a very physical way.
Hmm.
So there could be something along the lines that has to specifically do with the concubine or just like an all around goal, where Darby might choose something to like to be able to find a specific type of like medicine, and then thus being equipped to have those tools along the journey, that sort of thing. And Aki might have a more as like a noble soldier, might have a more like nationalistic, patriotic, or otherwise, maybe
Yeah.
something more rebellious or whatever. It's really up to the players. It's in their hands to sort of build the world around the concept that I have, which is I guess to talk a little bit also about the story.
Yeah.
I'm talking a lot in so many circles here, so catch up.
Yeah. No,
Um,
you're good.
Jay specifically is a lower ranked concubine that is being targeted and needs to be moved to a safe house, ordered by the Empress.
Mhm.
So lots of different ways that we can provide those threads within a short time frame. These will be like in three contained episodes.
Mhm. Yeah, I like your way of like adding I think my favorite thing about character threads is the ability where you can put like various little like mini goals within like the
Yeah,
broader like what your role is and like how you relate to people. And so especially for what sounds like a very like politically motivated game, as far as like there's like
yeah,
politics in the world going on at play, um where like that's a very easy way to like so like a little bit of tension over like, hey, I've got this goal I've got to be doing, and the other person's like, well, I have a goal that's like kind of the opposite of that, and we're both
yeah,
also supposed to be like, I love potentially like all the different ways that that could go. um and especially like, yeah, I think like as you were saying, like Castles and Crowns is like a great foundation for that kind of like political game, that I'm excited to see more people in, because you are not the first person of like the Kobold Creates that I've seen and like, oh yeah, we're leaning a little bit more political. So I wonder what it is about TOV that's kind of leading people in that direction. And maybe it is what you were saying about like the ability to choose like various lineages and heritages and like how that
yeah. Because
interacts.
it's like if we let the players decide who are the important people from the get-go, or like kind of creating, you know, an unfortunate system such as imperialism calls for certain amounts of like bigotry or persecution along those lines if you're if that is within sort of the parameters of your table.
Right.
But to not kid ourselves about the role of which women were historically treated throughout this time,
Yeah.
like even if it's an empress versus an emperor, to a degree that may like soften your experience as a consumer to be like, oh, it's not like a disgusting old man or something, but like how does it challenge your view about casteism or classism if it's a beautiful woman in that
Mhm.
role, that sort of thing. Like we're not kidding ourselves about the fact that we're like doing something very complicated.
Yeah.
And I think Tales of the Valiant just kind of came out at like a really beautiful time because, you know, House of Dragon
Hmm.
is one of those touchstones for sure. There's lots of anime coming out with lots of really great titles as well, and there's just a lot to be inspired by. And low ranked women, just by the name, is a very kind of inherently identity based game,
Yeah.
and it's hard to find identity in other big fantasy games. I think in ways
Yeah.
that we can really relate to as people
Yeah.
of color.
Yeah. I mean, no, 100%. Because again, like as like even the choice between choosing the same heritage but two different backgrounds has
Yeah,
such a huge like it's such a huge part of the experience, especially as members of like diaspora, or like
yeah,
even like people of the same ethnicity from two different cities in the same country can have a very very different experience from each other and relate, and maybe to a degree where it might be hard for them to relate to each other. And so like depending on like the kind of system you end up building, as far as like the caste system in that nature, like
yeah,
there's so much of like how that, yeah, like I once had a game where the caste system, or kind of the caste, yeah, the caste system of the given nation, right, was there were like a group of nobility that all like were given like abilities of dragons, so they were called like the dragon marked or whatever. And
yeah,
so
yeah,
these
yeah,
are nobility, and then there was another group that lives in the same, like lives in the same country, but years and years and years ago, their community basically was cursed by the dragons to always have to tell the truth, in exchange for like safety. And so there was a very tense moment where that we were playing a pirate campaign, and their ship's doctor happened to be one of these groups of people that were cursed to always tell the truth, as a naval officer who was dragon mark came onto the ship and was like, I'm going to talk to you in private and like
Oh
use that
no.
against them to
Yeah,
try to like, and like
absolutely.
the like, and there's so much of that that like Tales of the Valiant that I think can like draw on, and I'm excited to see like how you all pull on that.
Exactly. Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, for sure. So I think one of the very interesting things about the pitch is that all of your characters are not starting at the same level. You all are doing an
Yes.
asymmetric kind of like level and like party makeup. What how like how did that come about, and like what do you expect to get out of that?
Yeah, so the concubine, Jay's character is going to be starting at level 1, but is going to have probably a more advanced character thread, for example,
Hmm.
or will just have expertise in like I don't know, like in
Yeah.
whatever chosen background Jay chooses or skills that Jay chooses, there will just be far more social prestige and expertise there.
Right.
So just like that's starting very leveled as far as like being able to protect themselves, but to be able to get them out of certain social situations if they get there on time, or who knows what happens exactly.
Right.
Jay's character will have that. Darby's character is going to be level 3 and is this apothecary type character. And again, however Darby chooses to like dress it up in either certain way, will probably have a lower character thread,
Hmm.
but still something that provides them with like this extra sort of hand in terms of their herbalism or alchemy or however they choose to go about it.
Hmm.
Aki being the security detail, being level 5, will very obviously mean that this person has the most like martial prowess out of the entire group. And it's a small group to be traveling
Yeah.
to a safe hold. The Empress might be thinking, and we as the audience and people producing will expect the dramatic irony there of being like, well, how is this actually going to be a good idea? This like
Hmm.
group of people who don't have that a certain amount of prestige or whatever. But it makes sense also because why would a low ranked concubine, a concubine whose whole life basically is like dedicated to I'm gonna learn this dance for the queen, or I'm gonna learn how to sing this song, or do poetry real good, or play chess, or like be intellectually stimulating for the empress. Why would they, in turn, have a lot of like martial prowess? And the doctor character would have a lot of intellectual understanding, a lot of understanding of nature and that sort of thing. But why, again, specifically go that far into having martial prowess? Aki's character is probably the only one that it makes sense to be able to take care of herself, like physically or in really any sense. But at the very least, Darby's character would be able to test for poison in the concubine's food, that sort of thing. Huge,
Very important. Very
very
important.
important. So there will be a lot of like playing around with like silver and like the kind of chemical components that early Eastern medicine already had way before, Western medicine did, or like
Hmm.
Western science even.
Yeah.
There are just like those little like things that we can put in there that is just like just genuinely historically educational,
Yeah.
mixing all of our experiences as East Asian and South Asian people. um it's yeah, just I think that level breakdown at the very least I think can just show how compelling Tales of the Valiant can be in every step of the way if you provide something a little bit more to compensate for the fact that a character is level 1.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean that you can't make your experience any less interesting.
Yeah, and I think that's like like I think that's a great way to be able to show like that kind of like difference in experience, especially when it comes to being out, like exploring, looking for things, being able to survive by yourself or being able to defend yourself, and
Yeah.
like the danger that comes with, oh, I'm a level 1 person who is the target for a potential assassination, and I've got like 8 hit points in
Yeah,
comparison to everyone else, and then also like the anxiety of being, I have to make sure this person who only has 8 hit points doesn't get hit and die immediately.
exactly. Yeah.
And I think that's like the and I also, like you're talking about like the size of the group, I also love how intimate that kind of story
Yeah.
is, because you get to really focus in on the dynamics of those three characters, and like how over the course of it, like that dynamic may ebb and flow and change. And you know, 3 in my mind has always been the perfect number for an actual play for this very reason. So I'm excited to see how that plays out. Um, I guess as a GM, right, and
Yeah.
as like the primary storyteller, or you're not the primary storyteller, everyone's an equal storyteller, but as the person laying the tracks down, what are some of the things that you're most excited to see, like either out of the game, or like seeing your like players interact with the game, or just like how the story may develop in general?
I'm excited. I'm very like I'm very uh a huge history bookworm in the first place. So I'm excited to see because everyone's backgrounds come from different places.
Right.
Um, Darby and I are the only ones that share being Korean in the first place, but I don't want that to stop my relationship and thus the story to just fall short with Aki and Jay's character, obviously.
Mhm.
I'm excited to see where our similarities are as far as like this hierarchical caste sort of system goes, and how um, sort of where the world building will marry itself to the core principles and ideas that all of us have as storytellers. So like we are all people who are very interested in like relationships and like not necessarily romance, but like what is intimacy? Excuse me. What does intimacy mean in this world? Like
Right.
in what did intimacy ever mean for nobility back then in the first place? Um, I'm I'm gonna be so excited to see basically like how I'm gonna specifically be asking them as well. Like you may or may not have an allegiance to the Empress, and that in it of itself usually calls for death. Like if there's any secrets, anything rumored for treason, treason, um, how will they play with these people who don't believe as you know, how does anyone as players who don't actually who are not nationalists, who don't believe in like the concept of a state, that sort of thing,
Right.
how will they then either play off or continue to what's the word, like just continue to share those political sentiments in this game where you are at the rank that you are at because of apparently um, an arbitrary decision. Like what even is class or caste, and like who gets to decide these sorts of things.
Right.
Um, and the road marks were very clear back then as well as in now. Like there's a very specific reason, um, which is just to propel nobility and to make sure that the wealth the wealthy classes are as small as they possibly can be.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I don't know if I answered the question at all. I'm just very interested.
No, you. I mean, I think you kind of did.
I'm interested in seeing where historically all of our similarities are, like how how we will continue to be able to like uplift each other in telling stories where our just genuine backgrounds come from such a similar
Yeah.
ancestor.
Yeah. I mean, I like genuinely like that's one of my favorite things about playing tabletop RPGs, right? Is being able to, because there is the vulnerability in storytelling. Even like
Yeah.
whenever you are taking on the role of, anytime you are telling a story, right? You are giving a part of yourself, something you think is
Yes.
important, some way in which you view the world. Like that is what you are giving to other people. And when we're sitting down playing games at a table, it's just all of that back and forth, and like being able to connect with each other in that way in the characters that we make is something that's super cool. And I'm glad that like Tales of the Valiant can give you the tools necessary to put those pieces of yourself in the game that you're playing so you can explore those things. Because that's just cool. That's just dope. I guess, is there anything else you want to tell everyone as far as like where they can find you, where they can find the show, and anything of that nature?
Yeah, so you will be able to find the show and the wonderful cast of people at Scary Dog Friend, my personal Twitch channel. The social media handles of my players is Darby, Chaotic Darby, Aki at Akinomi_art, and Jay, who goes by Nala Woo or Nala Draws. Um, it'll You'll find promo and all that sort of you'll find promo and all that sort of thing on my Twitter, which is again at Scary Dog Friend. And yeah, if you're just really itching for an Asian story actually told by Asian people, where we talk about very complicated things or we do not kid ourselves about like the reality of life and like womanhood and femininity, we'll be over there.
Absolutely amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, and to all of you in Kobold Chats, I'm sending you back to me from my future, your present. See ya. It's me, the person from the future, the present, their future, our present. Yeah. Thank you all so much for being here and sticking for that. Let me link the swoosh. It's a tad loud. Thank you. I can fix that in the future. I appreciate that. What was the thing that I was about to do? I was going to link the Twitch again. Do 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 do. Ding. Okay, there we go. All right, everybody. That's all I've got for you today. Yes, that's all I have for you today. But we will be here next week, same time, same Kobold channel. And yeah, let's go check out that and all the other Kobold Creates projects as well, which we retweet a lot over on our various social medias. And coming soon, I will also have a YouTube playlist that will be linking to first episodes for a lot of our Kobold Creates shows, so that you just have a very easy place where you can go, click on it, and then bam, start off on your journey into some fantastical adventures. Is there anything else I got for you? I think that might be it. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. All right. So I will see you all next week. Don't forget to go out, eat enough food, drink enough water, get enough sleep, and take care of yourself. Self-care is very important, and don't forget to love yourself and everybody around you. And we will see you next week. This is another swoosh that I haven't been able to control the volume for yet, so it will be as loud. Okay, see ya. Of course, and thank you for being here.